everything we've done so far, because we've done approximate 6 classes. So because we had an extra class on Saturday, so I want you to catch up with us so that you can actually um move at the same pace with us. Design is sweet. Design is not as hard as you might think it is. Design is, what you need to do is master the principles and how to use the right elements. Then you are good to go with designs. Master the principles and know how to use the right elements. Then you are good to go. So that's the two things that design is all about. Once you are able to master the principles and you are able to learn how to get your element right, then the sky is the limit. You can create as many idea that comes to your mind um with the softwares, with the tools. The tools are actually a they are things to bring out the creativity, the idea you have to life. Those tools are just, they are things to bring that they help you bring out the idea you have, because there are sometimes you have an idea about a design but you won't be able to bring out the idea to life because you don't know how to use a tool, or you don't know the principles, you don't know how to bring those things to life. So those are the basic things you have to understand in design. So, and we've treated that in our first class, which the video is on the YouTube channel. So if you're here to subscribe on the YouTube channel, I'm begging you tonight, please kindly subscribe. The link is in the group, and the link is I will pin the link right now so you can subscribe and share the link with as many beginners, people that want to start a career or learn design for themselves. You can share with them. So yeah, so I'll be sharing my screen right away. So I will ask if you can see my screen. Yo. So can anyone see my screen right now? So you can see my screen. Kindly press 333 on the chat box so I know you can see my screen. Yeah, yeah. Because um this software is designed by Adobe, so the interface with Photoshop is quite similar because the same company designed the software, so the interface is quite similar. So that's why if you are trying to learn a design software, try to make sure that that design software has other compatible softwares. Like Adobe now, Adobe has Illustrator, has Premiere Pro, has InDesign, has a lot of other softwares, and fortunately those softwares work hand in hand. So anything you do in Adobe Illustrator, you can open it in Photoshop, you can open it in After Effects, you can open it in Premiere Pro, you can open it in other Adobe documents, Adobe softwares. So, and something about them is that their interface look quite similar. As you can see, these are some of my previous logos I've done. So for example, the design for designer. So let me just open that before we go back. So I'm trying to open that. So as you can see, this is the whole place, the identity for design for designer. This is where it was done. This is how everything was done. It was done on Illustrator. So, and by the grace of God, these are the things you'll be learning to do um before this week runs out. So trust me, these things are they are not hard as you might think. So all these panels you are seeing around are not hard as they look like. What you just need to do is that learn to know which of them are, learn to know what they do, then you are good to go. So let me go back to the home button. So so the home button has to do with is the same thing in Photoshop. So for the sake of those that are joining us for the first time in this class, So the home button has this create new document, open previous document, and these are just presets. These presets are size preset. There are some sizes that you need to work with. Photoshop actually has put some common size presets. For example, if you want to work in an iPhone X format, so this is the size of an iPhone X format. If you want to work in TV size, this is the size of a TV, 1920 by 1080 px. So those are preset sizes that are, let me just put it as common sizes that a designer might want to work with, that you don't need to start cracking your head or looking for the size all around the internet. So these are like presets, and you can get more presets right from here. So you can see, just similar to Photoshop, you can get so preset. You can see a lot of preset are right there. So yeah, so let me correct this. I actually told you guys I was using 2022 version of Adobe. No, I'm actually running on 2021 version. So I've not updated my Adobe for the past 2 years right now, because I actually have not maybe see the need to. Yeah, but they're actually nice updates on new versions. But then, so let's go with this. So these are presets, mobile presets, web presets, print preset. If you want to print and you don't know the sizes of the print, so these are the sizes right here. So you don't need to start disturbing yourself with all those sizes all around. So let's close this. Let's say for example now I want to start, we want to create a new document. For example, a new document, for example, you want to start a new work. So this is what you do: create new. That's what you press. Then these are where you choose your sizes. You can put your sizes in inches, pixels, point, whatsoever. These sizes are not they are not rigid. It's not compulsory you use pixel. For example, I actually do not work majorly on pixel, because most times some of the works I do, they are actually, sometimes they are printed. So I actually work on that basis. And because my background, when I was learning how to design, so I actually grew in an environment where um things that I do are actually on print. So I learn to work with inches. So you have to know the sizes you want your document to be before you start working, so that you don't have to go over your designs again. So you have to settle that first before starting your design. Those are the first things you have to settle before you start designing at all. You have to set, okay, is this design going to be printed, or is it going to be a digital copy? Is it, so that will determine your color mode. So if your design is going to be printed, so your color mode will be in CMYK. But if your design is going to be on print, is going to be on screen or digital platforms or forms, so it should be on RGB. I believe we get that. If you get that, kindly press 444. So I know you are right here with me. Oh, great. So yeah. So and yeah, and if you okay, and what is the difference between the two? So the difference between CMYK and RGB is that RGB, our screens has been programmed in a way whereby it use a RGB color mode. And in printing, if many of us actually read the color theory I told us to do to read, we shouldn't be asking this question right now. But for the case, for the sake of those that did not read the material I asked them to read, so I'll just brief the explanation. So RGB is an additive color, while CMYK is a subtractive color. So anytime you are printing on white on paper, many of us know that any printing majorly start on what, on white paper. And when you are printing that, you are going through the subtractive method. That's why you have to use CMYK, because you have to start subtracting all those color from white, because white is like the combination of all the colors. So if you are printing on white, you have to start subtracting all the colors, and TMYK color mode is where that is achievable. But because our digital platforms, our screens are programmed in an additive way, so that's why if any color you are seeing on your screen is additive, because it is combination of red, green, and blue. It has to be the combination of that three. Do you get that's the basic explanation for that tonight. If you still need more explanation, then you can actually reference the material I shared the other time in the group. So somebody can be so generous to help reshare the material, or you go over all the chart again, then you see the material. Somebody help us convert the material to a PDF. So it's still in the Telegram platform, so you can still get the material and go over it again and get the answer properly. So now let's assume now I'm creating a new document and my new. So if you this is where I believe somebody should ask me a question, because I said Illustrator is not a raster software, but yeah, we are seeing a raster effect. 300, we are seeing raster here. So what does that mean? It means that yes, most times Illustrator is built for vector, but then people still use it to make what raster graphics. Though it handle is, but that's not what it is basically meant for. So that's why Photoshop Adobe has to include this, because of those that will be using it for their raster design. So in the case where you'll be using it for your raster design, maybe you will be creating the design later. I recommend 300 ppi, which is point per inch. Ppi means point per inch. In some cases it is dpi, which is dot per inch. So in case you see ppi, it is what, point per inch, or what, or or in the case of dpi, it is dot per inch. That's what ppi means. That's the unit of resolution. So resolution is mentioned in dpi or ppi. So that's that. So you can just leave all the other settings as default. And there's something here that is called artboards. So in Photoshop, we call it artboard. Artboard was introduced into Photoshop in I think around 2019 version. Artboard was introduced, but the earlier version of Photoshop does not have artboards. They were majorly Illustrator features. So in Photoshop, what we call canvas in Photoshop is what we call artboards in Illustrator. What we call canvas in Photoshop is what we call artboard in what Illustrator. So now you can choose how many artboards you want to create, like how many canvas you want to create. You can choose to create as many canvas that you wish to create in your design. But because we are starting afresh, we are starting under the default, like we want to start a new document, you can just put it to be one. We can always add to it later while working. So let's just click create. so creating that, bring us to where we call our artboard. So this rectangle right here is called what? Artboard. So and the whole everything you are seeing right here on your screen is what we call the workspace, the Illustrator workspace. You can see it is quite similar with Photoshop workspace. It is similar to Photoshop workspace. So you won't you shouldn't be scared of the workspace, because I will be explaining every I'll be explaining what each panel and each one of the tools does, because I won't be able to go through all the tools. That might take us a lot of time. so that's that. So while working on Illustrator, there is something we call workspace, and workspaces can be in several form. Like you can choose the type of workspace you want presently, and each of these workspaces has been built for a particular function. So for example, let's say um normally essential should be the default workspace. You can see this is the default workspace Let's assuming we are opening for Illustrator as a beginner. This is what it will brings out for you. Do you get? This is what you have. But then, because I want to explain better with what I have earlier, so I'll just go to painting. So that will give me the access to explain with all the tabs and panels. So presently you can see stuff around right here in my left hand side right here. You can see a kind of icons that are listed vertically. They are listed vertically. This area is called the toolbar. It's called the toolbar. The same name it is called um in the in Adobe Photoshop is the same name, and you can see that some of those tools are quite similar to what we have in Photoshop. They are quite similar. So, and some of our shortcuts still remain the same. Some of our shortcuts still remain the same. So you don't need to start cramming different shortcuts for Photoshop and different shortcuts for Illustrator. You don't even need to cram in the first place, because as you practice, as you walk along, you begin to use this shortcut even unconsciously without even trying to think about them. So you begin to use all those softwares without even trying to think about which one do I need to use next, because it is now part of you when you learn to practice over and over again. So the next tab I will be telling us about is, as you can see here, this top side in Photoshop it is called the menu bar. If you can still remember, it is called the menu bar. But in Illustrator here we call it the header. Like the header, we can still call it menu bar too, but then it's just like a specific name for a specific software. So this is like it's called the header, and the stuff and all these stuffs below it is called a control tab, like control tab. So that's and this control tab is specific. Any tool you shows right here has its own control bar. If I choose the pen tool right here, it has its own control bar. If I choose the shape, if I choose the brush, so basically all these things has to change. If I start working now, all this control bar here, they have to change. So you will see that. So they are it is called the control bar. So and you can see here that we have two tabs open right here, this tab and our new tab. This is called the project tab. This is where you see each of the projects you open in Illustrator. You get to see, okay, I'm working on this project. I open another document like Photoshop. You can see all your projects aligned horizontally like that to infinity, as much tabs that you wish to open or you are working on. So that's that. And this side, there are a lot of panels in this side, but then as you can see, our layers is still right here. Layers in the same way as Photoshop, we still have our layers right here. Anything you create here automatically create a layer for itself, because these softwares are created in a way that anything you do, it's not destructive. Like you can easily go back and change it again. It's not like once you create it, you can't correct it. No, you can easily create a thing and go back to that specific layer and correct it without affecting the whole design. That's the essence of having layer. That's the essence of the layer panel. The essence of the layer panel I would like to come again is that so that you won't be destructive in your design process, so that you'll be able to go back in case there is a mistake or there is an error in a particular layer. Because for example, let's assuming everything is just compact, you can't once you make a change, that change is permanent. Let's assume everything is compact. That means even if at the final stage you make a mistake, that means you have to tear down everything you've been doing since. That means you have to start all over again to make just one correction. But then these softwares are not built that way. These softwares are built in a way whereby you can easily go back to any of the elements you've used and correct any error that you might have seen that you notice in them. So this is the layer panel, and there are a lot of and you can see some panels right here. If you can see my cursor, there are a lot of panel right, and each of these panels has their own specific names. So for example, now this navigator I really do not use it. So this navigator just consists, you will see like a mini artboard of what you are doing. You can easily see a mini what you are doing on the whole screen. You can easily see the mini of it, like a small version of it right here. And it contains the information of your design. It contains the size, contains if you select at any point you select, you can see it tell you the size of that point that you are. So that's what the navigator does. And the next one right here is info. You can see they are together with the navigator. So that's like the navigator tab. And all these things you can bring them out. You can see it's not like they are rigid. No, you can bring them out. You can arrange them to your convenience. For example, let's say you want this to be right here, and that's where it's convenient for you. You can usually bring it out there. Is that's how Photoshop is built. They are not rigid. They can and you can return them back where they are by just left click and drag and put it back to where it is. And you can bring it out by left click and drag also. You can easily bring out all these things and make them suit. You can easily design a workspace the way you feel, the way it makes the work easier for you. Do you get? I'm taking my time to explain these things because you have to familiarize yourself with these softwares to actually get the best out of them. Do you get? You have to familiarize yourself with this software to actually know how to maximize them. Do you get? So, and the next one, right? You can see anytime you click on them, you see their names. So what they are, you see their names, and when you click on them, it's called graphic styles. This is like a pattern. Just assuming I create a shape right here now, and I click on this pattern. So it's actually you can see it automatically fill it with that pattern. So these are just like a preset. You get just like a preset in for patterns for all these stuffs. So you can maximize them. For example, if you need them in your designs. So but that's that for that. And the next one down here is gradient. Gradient is so useful. I use it a lot for my designs. And this is what gradient does. Oh sorry. So I will still come over these tools later. This is what gradient does. You can see this there are two colors right here. So I can mix colors, I can mix several colors for a just a project. You can see I can mix so that I can have those colors in several ways. I can mix colors just for a single shape and all those things. Just be creative. Like you can see, so that's just that about gradient. So let me just delete that and continue. So and we have what we have the opacity, we have the transparency here. So and transparency is just like, let's say this thing is this is what it is, and I choose the transparency. I make it like 50 or what. You can see the effect. It makes it more translucent, transparent. You can easily see something behind this element right now. If I create anything and put it behind this element right now, you can easily see. So this is not behind the element. So you see when it is behind the element now. So I'm trying to do that right now. So you can the shortcut still remain the same. You get the shortcut still remain control. But you can see when I click, let me change the color so that you can easily see what I'm saying. Now you can't see the stuff behind it, but when I reduce the opacity right now, you can easily see the stuff behind that rectangle, behind that square. So that's what opacity does. And there are several blend modes, and these blend modes, unfortunately, I've not been able to talk about blend modes in my previous tutorials, but yeah, I made an announcement last week that start after this week we'll be creating specific tutorials that will be on specific topics on these tools, on these issues in Photoshop, where we treat a specific thing about Photoshop or Illustrator. Do you get? So I think by then people that are still connected will be able to get all those things right now. Don't be too fast. You get to understand all these things as time goes on. You can't just accumulate everything at once. You have to at least learn at your pace, learn at one step at a time. So just try to follow the process. And as I said earlier, this course is designed to help beginners. So it's not that we want you to consume everything at once. No. So let's assuming I want to I want I let's assuming I charged you for this lesson now. It's okay because I charged you. I want you to get so I want you to know everything at once. So I'll just be jam packing you because you paid for the class. But that's not the essence of the class. The essence is to build a new breed of designers that are informed and are aware about what design really is. Not just people that are concerned about the money, about the resources part of design. Yes, money is important. Money is good. Money is if you give me money now, if you have some account I will send it to you. So you can send me money. I need money. But then money should not be the whole essence of why you do things, some things. Do you get? So you have to learn first before you earn. Learn the basic principles first before you see some designers now they start making adverts of that they've started designing and all those things, but yet they've not been able to master the principles of designs before the end. Though I can't blame most of them because that's what the system has turned most people to. That's what the system has make an average Nigerians to become. So it's not like I'm trying to blame them or something, but I'm not trying to say that's not the right narrative. Though the system is not helping, but then we have to still do the right thing if you want to get the right results. So don't mind my TED talk. So let's just continue. So and the other studies, this is transform. This is just like the replica of transform 2 in Photoshop. But here in Illustrator is quite different. Anything you click, right, it automatically bring out the transform to anything you click, not until you press Control T. In Photoshop, you have to press Control T before this comes out. But then here you can easily do anything by just clicking on it. It brings out the anchor point itself without even because it is a vector software, so it is designed to do that. So and the next one is the I think the align panel. So the align panel is created in a way whereby you have maybe you have five 3 or 5 shapes. Let's say shapes like this, and you want to align all these shapes together in a certain pattern. Just click on all these shapes and you want to align them with center alignment. You can see center align horizontal align center. Just click this. You see the whole come together and aligned center. Let's try to use this aligned left. You can see the aligned left. Let's try and use this the aligned right. So that's that. Let's use this. You see align top, they align at the top. So these are tools that will um help you your design process because you will need alignment a lot. You have to align, you have to work. For example, let me show you this project. You can see I have to at least make sure my this is not the original font. I have to manipulate the font and you learn how to do these things by God's grace before the end of the week. So I have to manipulate the fonts and make it a custom font. As you can see, these things are now custom. They are not the way it was made. This is not the original font. I actually turned them to this to something like this. So that's that. So about alignment. And the next thing is a pathfinder. What I love Pathfinder a lot, and let me tell you a story. When I was starting, because I Photoshop was a because Photoshop was the first tool I learned before trying to learn Illustrator. I started learning this Illustrator when I think during the COVID period or before the COVID period or so, because I feel the need to start creating good logos. Before I create my logos with Photoshop, which is quite not professional. You don't create logo with Photoshop. It is unprofessional. You create logos with a vector software. So, but then I feel it is not professional of me to start creating logos because I realize that those logos they don't last long. They don't last long in the sense that the quality is not as what I should have I want them to look like. So let's assume I want to make a Pathfinder now and it works with two shapes or two objects or two elements together. Just assuming I bring this together, you have to select the two elements together, and let's assume you click unite now. You see it unite them together. That's what it does. You can see this is like this is looking like shell logo or something, but it's looking like shell logo in but that is not complete. So Control Z. So you can see if I should take minus now, you can see what it gives us. So this should give you an idea of how the logos are being created, because these are like important tools that you need to know, need to understand, master if you actually want to work with logos, brand identity, and the likes. You get. So you can see, let's use the third one, which is intersect. You can see intersect. This is what we get, which is nice. Like you see, this is like you can use this like somebody's. There is a brand using something similar like this. If I should remember their name, so you can see if I should use this fourth one now, exclude. You can see what it gives me. You can see that. So it's so nice. Um, if I should come here now, divide, it has divided, but we cannot. So I have to click out and start. It has done something to them, but then I have to. You can see it has divided those things into compartments. You can see different section in the shape already. So Control Z, you can see each of those section has been. They have their own icon points separately now. You can see. So anchor points are usually four on shapes. So you can easily select them by using the direct selection tool. So I will still come over this once again just for the sake of this demonstration. So let me just click on direct selection. You can easily now click on them separately. You can see now because it has been divided, all those things have been divided. This one has been divided. So everything can come in their separate way because we've used the divide tool. So that's that about that. So I'm trying to demonstrate what each of the Pathfinder tools does, because these are like one of the tools I fell in love with while I was trying to learn Illustrator. You can see trim. So trim, you can see trim this out. So let's just maximize our time. That's that about that. So the next one is asset export. I don't usually use this, but then if you are working with, let's say you're working on brand identity and you need to export your stuff, but these things you'll be learning to use them better as time goes on. The next one is the character, which is like where we control our text, our font. This is where we control our text and font. You can see it has the font name, it has the font type. You see down here, it has the font size, it has the font size, it has the kerning. Kerning is the distance between, let's say for example now, let me use somebody's name. Let me use general. So let me use general for example. You can see general right here. Escape. You can see general right here now. The distance between the J and the E is called kerning. Like that's the distance between the J. Each of these letters has distance between them. So if I want to reduce the distance, let's say for example, I will select all and reduce it right here. You can see. Let's say I want to put it to something around minus. Oh, this is not where kerning should be. But let me try. This is not where kerning should be. No, this is not where it should be. This is kerning. This is where kerning is done. Minus 50. Let me say minus 50. You can see there is a change in the distance. Let me say minus 100. You can see there's a change in the distance. That's where kerning. That's kerning. And this here is where leading. Let's say leading. The distance between this general and the icon is leading. So we can control our leading by just changing the figures right here. For example, let me say 80. You can see now that the distance has been closed by just changing the figures. So all these things are not complex things. What you just need to do is what? Learn what they do and learn how they are being used. So that is done. First, that's that about. And you can see the difference. In Photoshop, you cannot put your work outside there. It won't show. But here in Illustrator, because we are dealing with illustrations, we are dealing with vectors. So the software has been designed in a way to handle that. So you can see you can actually put your work outside and all those things. But when you are exporting, what you can export is things between the boundary of these four artboards. So you have to be careful about that because you can actually export all these things to, but be careful that what you want to export is between the boundary of these four artboards. You can see right here that I have some other things here. This is the original stuff that I designed before adding the stroke to it. So that's that about that. So if you are still with me now, let me see your icons in the chat box right now. Let's go. So great. So is it that there is one person on this call? Yeah, yeah. So let's keep it coming. So yeah, we'll be going. So I'll be going to the tools now. Some of the tools that we need to just learn before we continue. So just give me a moment, please. I will be right back. A moment. So just a moment, please. So I'm back. Yeah. So that's that about. I think by now we should be familiar with the interface. Now you shouldn't be scared about what the interface looks like. And yeah, so photo Illustrator also use brushes as also brush. We've been introduced to what brushes are in Photoshop. So we have brushes too in Illustrator. So now, for example, so the next thing we are doing now is the tools. What they do, you can see here. In the case of Photoshop, we have just only one selection tool. But in the case of Illustrator, we have two different selection tools, and each of those selection tools has their specific functions. They have what they do. Their functions are specific. You get their functions are specific. So they do quite different things. So you can see the black one up here, and you can see the white one up here. The first one is called selection tool. So the first one is called selection tool, while the second one right here is called direct selection tool. So let me demonstrate what each of them is used for right now. So you can see now, just assuming I've selected this now. The first one is what I can use to, let's assume I selected this now. The first one is what I can use to select them together. But if I want to select, let's assume these two are grouped together now. Let's say they are grouped together and I cannot select them. What I will use to select the individual element is this one right here, direct selection. So I can easily select this one on its own. And okay, let me say, let's for example, I group them, group. You see it has been groups now, and I want to select one of them because I cannot select one of them individually. So if I want to select them, I have to just come here and just click this, select it. So because it has been grouped, I can't just select one of the elements like that. So I have to use the direct selection method to select one individual element from the group. So you can see now that's what they do. Yeah. So and the second one here is what is called the pen tool. So normally this is the shape tool, this is the ellipse tool. We have the ellipse tool, and if you see any tool like this that has an arrow, that means there are still other tools. You can see this is the rectangle tool. As you can see, this is the ellipse tool. And the same thing still occur here. If you want to create a regular shape here in Illustrator, just click shift and drag. Shift, you create a regular shape. But if you don't want to create a regular shape, just click like this and drag. And one way to create your shape is just once you click on your tool, just click on the workspace. Then it brings out the dimension. You can input the dimension of the shape you want. You can say, okay, I want 6 by 6. Automatically it brings it out for you. That's 3 ways you can create your shapes. And you can see, but in the case of I want to create composite shapes, shapes that are not like you can't get them from the shape tools. You can see you can't get them from here. You can't even use the polygon to create them. There are shapes like that. They are just so composite. You don't have. They are scattered. So this is the pen tool. You can use the pen to uh you can use the pen to create them. You can see, just click shift, just click on it, click. So if I should left click now, if I should you see what something will happen now. If I hold down my left click now, you can see I can create a curve with that. So you can see I was able to create a curve by left clicking. But if I do not left click now, if I don't left click now, I will just create lines and I will join to where I started. So I've created what another shape in that. I will just see this is a shape like that. Now you can see in composite you can't say this is square, no, but at least you've seen that you can create any shape using the pen tool, and you can create our regular shapes using the shape tool or the polygon tool. So I believe that is understood. Yeah, so I believe that is understood. So yeah, so the next thing is the brush, the paint brush too. So it's just similar to what our brushes in Photoshop. So you can these are usually used by illustrators, those guys that create characters and all those things, because I don't do that. So basically so these are our text too. If you want to create your text, you can create text in a part. Let's assume I want to type. Let's assume I'm typing now. So let's assume I'm typing design for designers. Control T. If you want to make a regular your shapes to be regular, so just hold shift. If you don't hold shift and just go and click on the icon anchor point, you see what you are getting. This is what you will get. But if you hold down shift and click on the anchor point, you get a regular shape. You can see. So because this is clumsy, because I've changed the kerning size here. Let me just put it to 0. You can see the right, you can see what it is. So that's what text to do. But in a case where I want to write in a part, maybe in this circle now I want to write a text across this circle. So what do I use? I just come here, type on part. So I just type on the part and type anything I want to type. Blah 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 blah. You can see that it's typing. That's what text in a path does. You can increase the font size to, let's say 25. You can see now that's what text to path does. It help you type across a particular shape or pattern. So that's what it does. So yeah, so that's what that does. And uh so basically the vertical, let's assume we want to type in a vertical format. Let's assume I want to type Nigeria. You can see how it's typing. It's not typing in the usual horizontal format. It's typing in a vertical format. That's what that does. You can see, and all these tools are actually self-explanatory. Like, if you see the idea, you can easily say, okay, this is what this one does. We can easily just play around with it and work around with them and just learn. Okay, this is what this does. This is what this does. This is what this is used for. Just experiment. Design is just about experimenting. There is no rigid rule. Anything you experiment and it comes out well is what is design. It is an art. Anything you experiment with and it comes out well is an art. So there are no rigid rules in art. Maybe, okay, you have to do this, you have to do that. No. So art is just simply by experimenting and coming out with something great from what you are able to do. So and the next thing is what there is a 2 year rotate to maybe let's assuming, but basically I don't use that. It's let's assuming you want to rotate this text now. Click on it. You see, you want to just come to the end of the anchor points. Maybe the one I thought you see the icon change from selection to rotation. You can see you can now left click and what and rotate your text. So later, I believe by now you should have installed Illustrator. You just install it and start experimenting with the tools right in it. Start experimenting, start seeing what each of those tools are doing, start seeing what they are used for. Start experimenting. That you see, that's how I learn when I was learning design, I didn't I then I knew YouTube, like I knew there was YouTube. But then what I did mostly on YouTube then was okay, let's assume my team played yesterday now and I could not watch the match. I'll just go on YouTube and watch the match. I did not know, maybe I know there was one movie I can watch on YouTube, but I did not know that I can easily watch tutorials or get things on YouTube. So I couldn't I couldn't get materials then early to just learn with you. So I was just experimenting. There are some things I would teach you today that nobody actually okay, this is how it is done. I actually got them from experimentation. So some things I actually got them from what? From experimentation, from my own personal experimenting with each of those tools myself. So and there is this tool I love. This is eraser tool. Basically, if you don't know what eraser tool does, eraser is used for what? So it's used to it's used to clean. That's what eraser tool does. So there are cases that you might need it. And the next one here is like my most beautiful tool. Like this, if they ask me to choose one tool in Illustrator that I want, this is the tool. This is called the shape builder tool. This is the tool whereby everything we'll be doing in this software in the next 4 days, we'll be using this tool. Like we'll be using it massively, shape builders, because we'll be using it to create icons. We'll be using it to create word marks. We'll be using it to create a lot of things that will fascinate you, because it's a nice tool, by the way. So but then let me just demonstrate something for you. So assuming I want to it doesn't mean I want to do this. Yeah, I want to make something out of this. I want to make a combination out of these tools. Yeah, I want to make a shape out of these two. Let's assume something like this. I'll just select them like this. And this is how you select. You can select them individually by doing this select and shift, select the other. But then that is the long, just highlight them by left clicking and dragging over them. Left click and drag over them. It automatically select them. So, but just be careful in case there are other elements around them. So just click on the shape builder so you can easily merge them together by doing this. See, you create another shape from those two shapes. You see, you can easily, for example, let's assume I want to delete this portion of this whole thing. I will just click Alt. You see this the sign under the cursor change from plus change to minus. Immediately I press Alt, so you delete that part away. Then we have this. We have this. So you see that it's a massive tool, it's a big tool in this software. So you can see what that can be used to achieve. So that's that. And the next thing is what free transform tool. For example, let's say this is design for design. I can easily transform one of uh, I think I can. Let me use this for example. Yeah, I don't actually use this because I actually don't use this. You know? So I might not be able to give you a direct use what that is used for. So this we've demonstrated what the gradient used to is used for earlier. So and the next one here is the eyedropper tool. Eyedropper S2 is used to just sample color, sampling of color. So that means I want to sample this color right here. instead of trying to memorize the color codes, just come to eyedropper to click on it. Automatically, my color picker changes to that color I sample. You see, if I sample this color right here now, automatically the color picker changes to that gradient. So anything I'm creating will take that color. So if I sample this pink now, if I create anything, shape or something, you see, automatically comes out with that color. So that's that about eyedropper tool. This is the width tool. I actually don't use this, so but basically as we go along the line we get to understand what these ones are used for. This is a blend tool. So for example, let's try and experiment with that. So you have to select the two shapes and come here, blend tool, and you see. So and they're actually, you see, you can see their control panels up here. I told you that immediately we start working on individual tool, the control panel up here start changes. You see, the way we start working with all those tools, they start changing because each of these tools has their own separate controls. You can control them up here. Anytime you select a tool, you see the control right here. So those are like where you control each tool, because all these tools has you can't they are not just rigid, they are flexible. You can tune them to what you want them to be. You can see what the blend has helped us achieve. You can see that these two let me use it again. Let me come back again, come to Z. You can see this is the original shape that we selected. So I selected the two shapes together and I click the blend. So you can see what they've done. You see you will see the results now. You see, you can see the result right on the other shape. So it just blend the two. So right usage of these two will help you create amazing designs, and you can easily select one of them. You can see now, you can see what we've created just with this tool. You can see just using the select tool. Though we created just two shapes, but now we've been able to have like four different blends from that shape just using the blend tool. You can see what we've gotten. So those tools are amazing tools. They are just so marvelous. So I love them. So and the next one right here is the knife. What does knife does? We all know knife. What knife is used to bring to stuff into tool. Let us when I create a circle right here and I use a knife to what am I supposed to do? And my hand is not that okay. I use shift now. You see, I divide that shape into two. I can now what easily select the use selection tool and divide the two, so I can easily um work on individual. So I think there should be a way to divide this. But then we'll still work along the line. So let's assume now you want to create a new artboard. You've created this artboard. You want to create a new artboard. This is the artboard tool. Just click on it. You see it automatically select it. If you want to create a new artboard, just come up right here and what click new artboard. So automatically create a new artboard. Can you see what it does? So these are amazing tools, and using these tools right will help you create amazing designs. Trust me. Do you get? So now, if you've been able to understand what we've been doing since, like you understand what. So I might want to take a question before we go to the next thing tonight. So if you understand what we've been doing tonight, so let me just see 444. If you understand what we've been doing tonight, so let me just see 444 from the shaft boss. Then we continue. Oh, great, 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 absolutely great. Yeah. So now, we've been able to do the introduction to Adobe, Adobe Illustrator. So, normally, I think we are supposed to do introduction to. Can somebody just remind me what we are supposed to do today? Like the first class. What was on the what was on the on the curriculum I sent. Can somebody just remind me? Okay, let me just get that myself. It's I'll get that. Oh, geez, somebody was asking for a link in the WhatsApp group since, and oh damn, I think. Uh, so let me just okay. Somebody has sent it in already. But I'll just get it from my end. Yeah, thank you so much. I knew what we are supposed to do, but I'm just looking at the possibility of trying to achieve it tonight. So instead of maybe just do it as a whole session tomorrow instead of diving into it today. So where is it? Okay. So we are supposed to work on using grid shapes to create icons. So yeah, I think we can still yeah, I think we can still create grids. So I will tell us what grids are. So for example now, so I think we are done with all this right now. So I will be deleting all this. Thank you. So and I'll be taking away one artboard. I need one artboard for now. So there's something we call grids. Grids are like they are used to when you hear grids. So let me just enable grids now. Let me say view. Yeah. So there's let me tell you something about a thing I've been using. There's something I call that is called smart guides. This assuming I created. You can see some pink lines in between. So you might not be able to see them right. Let me just click. So so let me say now you can see some pink lines that are coming up from the shapes I'm creating. Those things are called smart guides. So they help me anytime my stores are in alignment. You can see since those two that straight line shows that those two shapes are in alignment. So you can easily enable it by coming to view and smart guides. View smart guides. So all this menu right here are things you can experiment, and once we start working on the file, edit, object type, select, we start working on them. They are nothing that you should be scared of. So those are smart guides. So for example, let me enable the grid, show grid. So you can see now I've enabled the grids. You can see the grids right here. You can see these are the default grids from Adobe. These are the default, like what the default grid, but then you can make your own grids. So after this tonight, and I will entertain questions. Then we bring the class to an end. So tomorrow we'll be treating shapes, how to turn shapes to create icons and creating icons. We'll be doing that proper tomorrow. So I just want to show us what the grids are. Then I ask questions and I entertain questions. Then we close the class. So tonight's class is not a long class like the usual class. So I believe everybody is enjoying the class. So so now let's go. So let's say I want to create my own grid. You can create grids with line tools. With line, you can see this is line, and what you do, you can create your line. See, and you can hold shift to have a straight line. You see, and you can increase. You can give it a stroke right here, and you can increase the size of it, the size of the line right here. So I think one is nice. So I just want to demonstrate something to you to see what the possibilities of what grids can do. You can see. So, so you with the aid of smart guides, you'll be able to get right equal distance between your grids. So now You can select the two instead of trying to select the two since you know the distance between them. So your so we have like I want to create like let's say eight of this. So I won't bother myself on getting the right sizes. So I just select them and come here. This automatically gives me the horizontal distance between them. So automatically give me the right distance. Let me distribute the distance between those shapes. I don't need to bother myself. Just so I have tools that can help me achieve that. So if I want to make this horizontal, what do I do? I select all, Control C. Instead of pressing Control V, I won't do that because it won't bring it to where I needed it. So I just press Control C, then Control Shift V. So it brings it to where it copies to exactly where you need it. So what do you well, so I want to rotate this grid right now. So I rotated, you see, I rotated the what? The grid. So I still need this again. So I do what? Control C, Control Shift V. So I will now flip this to the other side. So what do? I right click, I transform, then I reflect. You see, that's reflection. So okay, so I want to create something with this grid right now, so you can see the possibilities of what of using a grid. So I select all and then come to my shape builder tool. You can see the shape builder tool right here. You can see, so you can see. So I'm trying to create something that you can that maybe some of you can call a logo. So you can see. Mhm. So these are ways, but we are going to that proper tomorrow. No, so, no, go back. So I'm trying to build an icon. You get to you get to see what the possibilities of what grids can help you achieve. So I think I'm okay with this. Okay, as you can see right here, I've been able to come up with this right here. So so I can easily uh see I can easily give this a color. So I've been able to come up. So this is not yet achieved. So you can see the possibilities. So this is what we'll be doing proper tomorrow. We'll be creating a lot of this tomorrow. Yeah, we'll be creating a lot of this tomorrow. So don't worry, tomorrow is a day. So yeah. So let me just select all. It's not working. So let me just select all because I've not selected those, so it's not working. So yeah, you can see I'm trying to close up those gaps I was unable to fill. Yeah, you can see now. So I've been able to create just this. So now I can copy this, Control C, Control V. See now what I've created out of that grid. So this grid can help you create anything that you feel like creating. So this is like a demonstration of what we can achieve using our grid. So all the logos we've created, there are a lot of guidelines. Oh, sorry. So there are a lot of guidelines in creating icons and logos, and tomorrow we'll be discussing all those ones proper. We can use grids, we can use the golden circle, we can use shapes, we can use our